Engage. Sprints. Big clump. Drop your E's, boys. Drop your E's. Fucking beautiful.
Guys and girls, another quick guide for you. Siegebow. Really nice weapon. Let's just do the usual, get straight in, go over the build. So start off, Royal Hood. So this uses Growing Rage. As long as you don't deal damage, you keep stacking up a damage increase of 6% per second. As soon as you deal damage, the stacking stops and the current increase stays active for 5 seconds. However, if you wait too long and don't deal damage after the max stack of 6 is reached, you will lose the buff without any effect. So really strong ability. It's another damage stacking ability. Does have quite a short window. I'll demonstrate it for you now. So pop it there, you can see up in the top corner here. Stacking up, 1 every second. Once it hits 6 stacks, that's it. It's gone. So you've got quite a short window. If you're not comfortable doing it on 6 stacks, pop it on 5, pop it on 4, really doesn't matter. You get an extra damage either way. You've all seen this one before, Cleric Robe, Everlasting Spirit, for that short invulnerability shield. Really nice ability if you're getting beat on. Used for nothing other than that in this build. It's just a defensive, allowing you to keep wearing cloth armor and still have something to save yourself. Trusty Assassin Shoes, Refreshing Spin. Remember, I always use Assassin Shoes rather than another leather shoe because of the dodge roll. So if you're fighting a boss which requires a lot of dodging, you always got that dodge roll you can use. Really good for rolling out of special abilities. Invulnerable while you do it, and gives you a little move increase afterwards. But majority of the time, sticking with that refreshing sprint to reduce the cooldowns. So let's take a look at the Siegebow itself. Q ability for PvE dungeons. My personal preference is Explosive Bolt. Auto fires, pretty good as well, to be honest. Bit more single target damage, slightly less AoE. Explosive Bolt is all AoE. Requires a little bit more management as you have to click where you want the bolt to go. But overall, gonna put more spread pressure down on the mobs. Help your group clear speed that little bit more. Quick demonstration, Explosive Bolt. There you go. You can see it's pretty spammable. It's a very short cooldown. Not a big deal. Remember, every 4th shot as well, because of the passive we're using, it's resetting the Q cooldown so we can spam it double. W, Sunder Shot. This is a really nice ability. So, a ranged attack dealing 294 physical damage and reducing the target's armor and magic resist by 4 seconds. Oh, 4 seconds. The more health the target has, the more stacks of resistance reduction are applied. Between 1 and 10 stacks are applied, and each stack reduces resistances by 8. So here we've got another ability that reduces resistances on mobs. So you can see as we're going through these guides, by the time we're getting through to this point, if you're putting one of these builds in each group, your debuff and resistance is so hard. You've got those damage debuff resistances on some of the tank weapons. You've got a double debuff resistance on the Damnation Staff, debuff resistance on your Sunder Shot, you've got a debuff resistance on the Bow of Badon. Stacking them all together, it's like fighting jelly. You know, there's no resistance at all. Really, really good ability. Do remember the little bit about the more health the target has, the more stacks of reduction are applied. Try to go for a full health mob. I would say try to use it on something that's relatively tanky as well. Try not to shoot a trash mob with it, a little bit of a waste. Here's the big one for the Siegebow, Vicious Barrage, and it is a Vicious Barrage as well. So, fires a sustained barrage of bolts in a large cone in front of the caster, dealing 313 magical damage per second, Against players, an additional 2% of the enemy's max health will be dealt as true damage each second. The channel lasts up to 5 seconds. So it's a big forward cone AoE damage. Quick demonstration on that one. Point it where you want to go, and there you go. I mean, the size of that cone, particularly if you're running a dungeon, like a random dungeon, fill in the whole corridor. You can't miss. Okay, I'm going to rephrase. You can miss. You shouldn't miss. Really, really strong ability. Now going back to that Royal Hood. So this is where this comes in. So you're stacking your damage bonus before you drop your E. So you might want to drop your W a little bit before. Or you could use your W to trigger this. Depends how confident you are on doing it. You get a feel for it. Just going to demonstrate it with the E. So the tank's pulled all the mobs into a big pack. He's hit his Camla and he's rooted him. You're stacking your damage buff. Waiting for yourself. Probably on 5 you're going to start the animation and then you shoot. And when you shoot and make contact with a mob, it's going to lock that damage buff in for you, and you get that damage buff for a few extra seconds. If we look at it, 6% goes up to, what's the maximum stack? 6, so 36% damage bonus on max stacks. And you consider how much damage the Siegebow does already. You add a 36% damage bonus on top of that. And then if we look at all the other builds, the resistance debuffs and stuff that we're putting down as well, it's crazy strong. Really, really good ability. Big fan of the Siegebow. Consumables. Beef stew. Can't go wrong with a beef stew. Again, the Siegebow is a big, big damage hitter. I like that damage for the E rather than the cooldown for this build. Personal preference, you might prefer cooldowns. It's not too mana hungry, to be fair. You throw a Demon Cape on, you could throw a Thetford Cape on. Another personal preference, I would say. I quite like the Demon Cape. And you always want, when you're dungeoning, your stack of poisons. So hope that helps for the Siegebow.
Engage. Sprints. Big clump. Drop your E's, boys. Drop your E's. Fucking